up, guys? Two Thumbs Up Dad here. I just wanted to kind of go over some stuff. Tonight we're going to be cooking up something. It's going to be ridiculously simple. You know, eating good does not have to be expensive, nor does it have to be time consuming. You know, what we're going to do, I've just got some chicken tenders here. I actually went with chicken tenders because they are already kind of cut up into little strips. I'm going to be dicing it up. You could go a little bit cheaper even and go with some chicken breast for fairly inexpensive. All this stuff here is going to make a good meal. It's going to be enough for my wife and I, plus leftovers for tomorrow as well. Just some rice. We're going to do just some nice chicken over rice with some nice fresh veggies there. We're going to caramelize some onions and have some fun in that respect as well. So without further ado, this whole meal today, including our leftovers for tomorrow, this can all be had for under 10 bucks. You know, if you're really shopping on a budget and you want to be budget friendly, I mean, this will feed my wife and I, 2 kids. You know, absolutely. You're going to eat the whole thing for the family of 4, but for 10 bucks, how can you complain? And it's delicious. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right. First tip number 1, wash your rice. Look at that. See that water? See it's all discolored? I'm not even really washing it that hard. I just like to give it a good rinse, but look how nasty it is. It's not even nasty, it's more just the dust and stuff, but you never know what you're cleaning off your rice, and in my opinion, when you do this, your rice is going to turn out a little bit fluffier, a little less sticky, and just going to be overall a little bit more enjoyable for the meal. So make sure this is just something to do. It takes 30 seconds, you know, just rinse it off a little bit, dump out the water, and get ready to cook it. And then prepare your rice. Real simple. Other tip, a rice cooker. This takes all the mess of rice out of the equation. It makes it ridiculously easy. A few minutes with your rice cooker, you know, 20 minutes later, boom, perfect rice. So rinse, rice cooker, and set it and forget it. That's the quickest and easiest way to get perfect rice every time. All right, so here we got just a regular red bell pepper. We'll go ahead and get the sticker off of there. That ain't no good to eat. But, so we got a regular red bell pepper. I'm gonna show you a little trick here on how to cut these guys. But to start, we're gonna cut right off the top, cut off the bottom. And I am all about working smarter, not harder. So we've got our pith in the middle there. As you can see, this pith is pretty big. It doesn't go all the way through. But there's an easy way to go about this. You come in, you put it sideways like this. You come in right at the bottom, just at a little bit of an angle. And then you start to slice in. As you slice in, you want to stay kind of straight with your blade and just unroll it. And let your blade kind of eat through the little parts there. Alright, and then once you get to the very end, boom, there's your pith. I got a little bit of the pepper there with it, but that's alright. We got a lot of pepper here, so that's a little trick. And then once you're done there, it makes it real nice and easy. You can just kind of go through and start cutting up some strips. That's what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be doing nice little strips of pepper. Just want to rock the blade back and forth. See how I'm keeping my fingers pretty far away from that blade. And the nice part about unrolling the pepper this way is that it allows you to have a big piece of pepper to hold on to, so you can hold way back here as you cut way up here. So it's both easy because then your pith is removed and the middle of the pepper there with all the seeds and everything, and gives you a nice thing to hold on to while you cut your pepper. So you can use any kind of bell pepper, orange, green, red, doesn't really matter, whatever preference you got there. Just we're gonna go with a nice little red bell pepper here. It's gonna give us a little bit of crunch as usual, no real heat or anything there with it. So we got all that sliced up into some strips. That's gonna work really well for us. So here we got our red onion. This is gonna be our onion that we're gonna end up caramelizing. As you can see here, what I've done is I've just cut off either end here. So we got our ends. Our wrapper, just going to cut right down through the middle. Now with caramelized onions, I like to leave them, I want to have big kind of chunks there because I like them a little bit stringier. But when I cut it in half like that, what that does, it gives me a nice flat surface to work with. Nice flat surface, so I don't got to worry about trying to hold it, so it's not going to roll while I'm trying to cut it, nothing crazy. Nice, solid, and stable. And then I'm just going to start slicing. And And as I slice, I'm making pretty wide slices here, okay? Just because when that caramelizes, that gives a lot of that onion slice for texture, and it's really nice. It gets that nice sweetness to it once you get that nice and caramelized on the grill. I'm gonna be using a griddle today. As I come down to the end here, I'm just gonna kind of grab it and hold it whole, and then those are all gonna peel apart very nice. See, so we're gonna have a bunch of chunks like this that's gonna sit really nice on top of our food. It looks nice, a little bit more color, a little bit of flavor there as well from the caramelization that they're gonna get. And so I'm gonna finish this guy up here. We're gonna go with, you know, my wife really likes caramelized onions. Like I said, we're gonna have some left over for tomorrow for lunch. So I've got one whole onion here, but we're gonna actually go with 2 onions tonight. We're gonna kind of go overkill again, just because she really likes the flavor of those, so do I. So having a little bit extra for tomorrow at lunch is gonna be a blessing for both of us. Guys, so here we've got some just your basic green onion, nothing fancy. I'm just gonna cut off these ends. I recommend rinsing them off. You know, rinse them if you know, before you use them. They come in little packages. Again, these guys are super inexpensive, but they add a little bit to the meal. I'm just gonna kind of go through, just gonna add some nice chops here. Doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be super clean, doesn't have to be super fancy. But they, you know, they impart just a little bit of that green onion flavor. It's gonna be good. As you can see, I left another one of those red onions out. I decided, you know what, by the time I got the 1 onion all chopped up, I figured 1 onion's probably gonna be enough, because I got these green onions that are gonna be going in there too. Again, guys, always be mindful of your fingers. Keep them back away from the edge of that blade. It's gonna be your greatest friend there. So I'm just gonna kind of chop up into here. Fingers away there. All right, so I got a little bit of green onion all mixed up here, all nicely cut. As you can see, we don't need a ton. We're just gonna add enough flavor, even just with that little bit. 1 onion actually turned out to be quite a bit, so once we get that caramelized, that's gonna be really good. I'm gonna pot season these little bowl. And again, you know, you can even go up here to the very tops, the little soft areas. This makes a great garnish. You can take a couple of these just for looks, but it, you know, it imparts a little bit of flavor. You take them, line them up like this, and if you start cutting them at a nice 45-degree bias, you know, that just means like an angle. If you kind of cut them at an angle, see, they kind of make that like triangle-y nice look. It looks all fancy. You know, you can mess with it and play around and make it look as nice as you want. It's just a little bit of garnish on top, but you know, sometimes those little things go to impress people. So, all right, next up, we got all our vegetables out of the way. Next up, we're going to be prepping our chicken, and at that point, we're going to begin to cook our chicken. This whole entire time, our rice is going in our rice cooker. That's probably going to finish up about the same time that we get all the rest of this stuff going together. Overall, I mean, you're looking at maybe probably 20 to 25 minutes for this meal, but again, all of this stuff, and you're talking, you know, you can get it around $10 to $11, and it's going to feed a family of 4. You really can't beat that for a deal in terms of all the fresh veggies, fresh chicken, rice. Everything's going to be really delicious, so we're going to go ahead and move on. All right, so next step is our chicken. This is going to be pretty darn simple. You can't really mess this up. I've got chicken tenders. Again, you can use a chicken breast. You know, any chicken breast is going to be fine. Basically, you're going to just see a bigger chunk, just like this. You would slice it up then. With some of the chicken breasts that you're going to find at the store, they're really, really thick. And what you can do in those cases is what I will do. I will set the breast down, and if it's a really thick one, I'll just kind of, you know, I'll secure it with my hand here, and I'll have my knife on the edge, and then I'll just slowly rock it through, trying to get an even cut on both sides. It actually kind of like makes it nice and thin, so you get a good cook through, makes it cook a little bit quicker, and you don't got to worry about leaving it on there quite as long to let the entire thing cook through. Instead, you've got 2 thinner slices that then you can do this with. What all I'm going to do though, tonight we're going to keep it pretty simple. I'm just going to rock through. I'm just going to make some bite-sized bites. You know, something that would be a nice little mouthful that you could eat with some rice. Going to fill you up, but not something where you're going to have to be cutting it with a knife, or like, you know, really trying to like have to cut through it, or too big of a bite, you know, if you get it in your mouth. So I'm just gonna go through my chicken here, go through my tenders, just gonna work them again into a small, reasonable bite. They are gonna shrink up a little bit when we cook them, so you know, keep that in mind. But again, the biggest part is that you don't want a chunk that is so big that you're having to cut through it. This is supposed to be just a fun, Nice, quick and easy little meal. Turn that guy sideways, get a couple bites out of that. I'm gonna finish prepping the rest of the chicken, and then I'm gonna show you the really simple way that we're gonna be able to prepare this, and then the even easier way to cook this and have perfect chicken. It's gonna be rocking. It's super easy. Anybody can do this. Again, all you dads out there, this is gonna be just something you can make this ahead of time. Your wife is gonna get home and she's gonna fall in love with you all over again. Or, more importantly, your kids are gonna have it and they're gonna go, Dad, I never knew you could cook like this. Oh my God, this is amazing. And pretty soon, Mom's gonna be out of a job. But don't tell Mom I said that. I'm gonna finish prepping up this chicken here, and then I'm gonna show you the rest of the process. This time, I'm gonna show you the simple process to prepare the chicken. Basically, all I did was to prep the chicken. Again, I rinsed it off with some water, and then I dried it off with some paper towels, sliced it up. Again, just, you know, bite-sized bites, something that's not gonna be too much for your mouth. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna take some cornstarch here. All right, we are going to put it right in the bag. I'm just going to dump it in there. And I'm just going to show you with a small sample here, but essentially you want to do this with all of your bites. You're going to toss them in the bag. You're going to close the bag up, bounce it around, and then out of the bag, you're going to have some cornstarch covered chicken. All right, and that's what's going to happen. That's going to be the way that we're going to prep our chicken. Each of the bites just covered in a little bit of corn, little dusting of cornstarch there, and we're gonna rock and roll from there in a hot pan with some oil. So, without further ado, let's continue cooking. All right, gang, we got our chicken here. Again, lightly coated in some cornstarch. We're gonna keep it really ridiculously simple. I got some hot oil here. You can see the smoke coming up off the top there. I mean, the oil is good and hot. Not a ton, but you want to have at least a nice coat in the bottom of the pan there. We're going to lay these in here just like this, and we're going to let them start cooking up. Okay. You want to be very careful. You don't want to overload your pan as you put in the meat. That cold meat is actually going to change the temperature of the pan. You are going to get some bubbling, some boiling. So, with that said, that is why I have this handy doohickey. They've been around forever. What that does, just kind of keeps the smattering from coming up. Over here I got my griddle. You can see that's pretty hot too. I'm just going to take some of my onions here. I'm just going to start laying them out on it. We want to get those guys nice and caramelized. All I did was just threw down some olive oil on there. Okay, we're going to let them start cooking through as well. That's our one onion. Oh man, the smells from that chicken already smell good. So, we're going to let this cook for a while. These things are going to cook the entire time. We have a little bit of chicken to get through here, so we are going to work our way through this chicken, just in small batches through here. As these start to cook, you're going to notice that they're going to brown on the sides. Then you want to take your tongs and flip the pieces to the other side, let the other side get browned all the way. You want to get them nice and brown as you work your way through the chicken. You're going to notice that it's going to change color. The chicken's going to kind of go white about halfway up. When it's about halfway up, then you know it's about time to turn your chicken. And you should have a nice crispy brown side once you flip that chicken. That's how you know you're doing it right. You see it get about halfway white, flip it, you'll have a nice brown top, let that white come all the way through, and then that other side should be brown. You should have a nice brown piece of chicken. Alright guys, just wanted to show you, give you kind of an idea. This is the brown that I'm talking about. You can see it's kind of a golden brown. That's kind of what you're going to get all around. You know, you just put them in, let them sit, flip it, then let them sit. The longer that they sit outside of the pan, outside of your hot pan, the more that the cornstarch is going to soak in. So if you have to do smaller batches, I recommend actually separate them out and shake the cornstarch on them right before you fry them. That's going to get you more of a crispy, like this one. This is one of the first ones here. Pretty darn crispy. Nice and good. Some of the other ones, some of the later ones, you'll notice, not quite as brown because the cornstarch had started to soak into them a little bit when I was cooking them. So a good thing to do for the future, make sure that the cornstarch is on there nice and fresh. Still got a new batch going there. Our onions have been sitting on there since the first batch. Right here, right? You'd think, well, they're going to get burnt or something. I've turned the heat down to a low, and they're not actually going to get burnt. This is actually just pulling out a bunch of that flavor. That's what you call a nice caramelization on there. It gets that nice dark color to it. I just threw these red peppers on here. Nothing crazy. I don't want to keep them on here too long actually. I'm just trying to get a little bit of warmth to them and a little bit of color. That one there is pretty dark, but that's all I'm trying to do. I just want to get a little bit of color to them. As soon as they start to get dark like that, I'm actually going to pull those off, because if you keep them on there too long and they're going to get real soggy, they're going to lose that crispness. So you're going to lose a little bit of that mouthfeel. We don't want to lose that. With the onions, totally different story. We want them to be nice and just almost falling apart. So that is going to bring out a lot of that really nice, rich flavor that we're looking for. That's going to go really nice with the snap and the bite here of the red peppers and the nice crunch that we're going to have from our chicken. So here we are. Got a plate of our clean, nice, awesome white rice there. Just something, you know, it's going to be tasty. We got our brown chicken. We're just going to throw some pieces on here. Alright, we're just going to use the rest pieces on there. We're going to try and make it look a little around there a little bit. Alright, now on top of that, we're going to take some of these onions. Now I don't know if you can see the colors on these onions very well or not. They are nice. They are, it's like a really, it's almost like a black mixed with a dark purple. They're just really, really nicely caramelized. One onion, as you can see, it shrinks down a lot when you caramelize these things, so we're just going to kind of drape those guys right over there. We want those guys to sit on top. We're going to take some of our red onions. As you can see, they still got quite a little bit of snap left into them. Again, we just got the little bit of color on there with those guys there. We're going to top it off. Take just a little bit of these green onions. Just going to sprinkle those right around the top. Boom! Here you are. That right there. That is a plate that is bound to impress. Whether you're on a date or whether your kids come home and they think you have slaved all day making them a ridiculously tasty meal. Alright, that chicken is done perfectly when you get it nice and brown. Those caramelized onion adds a sweetness that the kids are going to absolutely love. You got a little bit of healthiness there, which is some nice red bell pepper, a little bit of green onion on top, just add a little bit of color and a little bit of extra layer of flavor. Again, that's all we're doing here, is we're just layering that flavor, really bringing it together. This is a great dish. It's very simple, it's very plain, has a lot of flavor, and brings a lot to the table in terms of just a chance, an opportunity to make something really nice, really delicious for not a lot of money, and you have leftovers for work the next day. Your kids will probably even want it for dinner the next day too. It is that good. It gets 2 thumbs up here in the dad household, so enjoy. Let us know in the comments below what kind of reactions your family has to it, and we hope that you love it. All right, just a quick addendum here, but this is actually a really good meal. I like it plain. My wife, however, likes it with a sauce. We found this roasted pineapple and habanero sauce. While it says habanero, don't let the name fool you. It is not as hot as you might think. The roasted pineapple actually imparts a really nice flavor in there. Brings a lot more sweetness to the table. My wife likes it with a sauce. You can pick whatever sauce, whatever your favorite sauce is that you want. I'll probably cover another episode in the future where I discuss some different sauces and how to make them, and you know, you can incorporate those with this meal as well. It's kind of whatever you want to go with. Again, I like mine pretty plain, no sauce. The wife, she likes hers with the sauce. And actually, our kids are the same way, divided right down the middle. My youngest son, he enjoys no sauce. My oldest boy, he enjoys the sauce because he likes something with a little bit more kick. Sometimes he'll even dab a little hot sauce on there. So it just kind of, you know, make it your own. Pick whatever you like, whatever you think, what sauce is going to work well for you, and go with it. Just have fun.